Hello, today we are doing Chapter 3, Section 1. I almost said Section Fun, which it will be. But our essential question is, what is a function? Well, that's actually a pretty easy question to answer. It's pretty much if you have a function, you're going to have, for each input, only one output. So for each value of x, you're only going to have one value of y. It can get a little bit more complicated on that, deciding it, but it's really not too bad. So here we want to determine whether or not we have a function and explain. So in part A, we have ordered pairs, and that's a relation. Now, if that's a function, if that relation is a function, each x is only going to have one y. So every input has exactly one output. So it is a function. For part B, the 4 has two outputs, a 0, so we have 4, 0, and we also have 4, 3. That is not going to be a function. For C, we have 0, 5 and 0, 6. It has two outputs. That is not going to be a function. And for D, there's only one arrow coming from each input. If you notice, you can have multiple values of y. You can have more than one arrow coming to that y, but you can't have more than one arrow coming from that x. So that is a function. Take a second, hit pause, try these 4 on your own. When you think you have the answer, hit play and check yourself. Number 1 is not. Number 2 is. Number 3 is. Number 4 is not. All right, the vertical line test. You're going to always hear a lot about the vertical line test. And the easiest thing on this one is use it when you're given a graph. If you draw a vertical line, that means that it goes up and down, and it passes through only one point at a time, then it is a function. If that vertical line ever passes through more than one point at a time, it is not a function. So here, I'm going to determine whether that's a function or not. I can draw a vertical line going through 2 points right there. So that would not be a function. And I also noticed right here, I'd be going through 2 points as well. So that's not going to be a function. On part B, no vertical line can be drawn through more than 1 point at a time. So I can take that vertical line and pass through, and it's only touching at one point at a time. So that one is a function. Take a second, try these 4 on your own. After you think you have the answer, hit the play button and check yourself. 5 passes the vertical line test. 6 passes the vertical line test. 7 would not pass the vertical line test. 8 does. So those are, so you have 3 functions here and 1 non-function. So let's take a second and talk about this core concept, domain and range of a function. The domain of a function is the set of all possible input values. That's what is possible to go into the function. The range is what your output is. So they've kind of got a machine set up here. Whatever you put in, and you're going to get out. I always like to think of it as a vending machine. You put $1 in, you can get a can of pop out. So my input would be the money, my output is the pop. So here, I want to find the domain and range of the function represented by the graph. Well, we've got ordered pairs, and it's not continuous, it's points. So I'm going to write those ordered pairs down. My inputs are my x values. That's my domain. My range are my outputs. those are red. So here, my domain is -3, -1, 1, and 3. My range is -2, 0, 2, and 4. On part B, this is continuous. My range is my y values, what's going up and down. My domain are my x values. So I like to sometimes look on the x-axis. You might need to pause and really study that graph for a second. So my domain is going from -2 to +3. My range, my lowest y value is -1. My highest y value is 2. So my range is from -1 to 2. Take a second, try these two on your own. Hit pause when you think you have the answer. Hit the play button and check your answers. My domain are my x values. So -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. My range are my y values, 0, 2, and 4. On number 10, my domain is my x values. It's going from 1 to 5. I look along that axis. And then my range, my lowest y value is 0. My highest is 4. So my range is from 0 to 4. All right. On this one, the function y equals -3x plus 12 represents the amount in y in fluid ounces of juice remaining in a bottle after you take x gulps. So identify the independent and the dependent variable. The domain is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to figure out what is that range. Well, the amount of y juice remaining depends on the number of gulps. So y is the dependent variable because the amount of juice remaining depends on how many gulps you take. So x is the independent variable. So for part B, we're going to make an input-output table. A lot of times I refer to this as a T table or an XY table. Our X, here's our work, here's our output. So we started with 0 gulps. We have 12 ounces remaining. Take 1 gulp, you have 9 ounces remaining. 2 gulps, you have 6 ounces remaining. 3 gulps, you have 3 ounces remaining. 4 gulps, you drank it all. So my range is 12, 9, 6, 3, and 0. If you take a second, hit pause, try these two problems on your own. When you think you have the answer, hit play and check yourself. Being able to identify the dependent and the independent variable are really going to be an important skill to have, especially when you are in a science class. I always ask myself, which one depends on the other one? Okay? That's going to be the biggest question that you can ask yourself, or the most important question. All right, hope you enjoyed lesson 1, or chapter 3, lesson 1. If you want to, there's always Math Lab or iPass if you want some more practice or talk about this a little bit further.